Hey, what's going on, internet? Josh Noel from SonduckOne. So today we have a 39-3 gameplay on Domination Breach. And what's interesting about this game is obviously we have joined this game, and it's always difficult to understand kind of what's going on in the game once you join a match, and you're always kind of at a disadvantage. So the first thing that I do is I'm kind of staying put, trying to learn what's going on in the game. And once I kind of start figuring out what's going on, that we have to start capturing some flags, because my team is down by 2 flags, and the round's about to be over. So my goal is really just try to get as many points as I can to kind of have a good start to start off the second round of domination. And I kind of do have a pretty good start here, and I'm trying not to force anything. I'm trying to just kind of figure out how everyone else is playing. So once I go into the next round, I have a good idea exactly what to expect. And right here I see like the entire team on the C flag, so I decided to run away and kind of just say, hey, that's the round, and live and have all my points. So once we start off our next round, I'll be ready to go, and my boy Darkside gets the kill cam, which his accuracy is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, I play Ground War with Darkside, and we always play the objective together. He's more of the hold down the B flag. I'm more of the I'm going to flank around and make sure not too many enemies are going to go to the B flag. So him and I are a pretty good team, I think. And basically at the start, we always try to capture the A or C flag just because it's easy to capture. And then Darkside usually runs to the B flag, and then I usually just go ahead and do my deep flank and try to make sure that the enemies are not gonna, so I can pick off enemies from the back when they're trying to take the B flag, which the enemies did take the B flag right off, the start of the game here. And I know if I just pick off, a few people, my team should be able to capture the B flag, and of course they do. And as you see, that they can't get past me. I've already picked off 2 enemies, and I'm holding off anyone who tries to jump up here and build up my score streak, because I was already on a score streak, and I didn't want to jeopardize that by trying to put myself at risk to capture the B flag, because usually, there's a good chance you will die when you try to capture, a neutral B flag to start the game off. So that's always something to keep in mind. And, right here, I'm like 1 away from my Cerberus. So, if I can get that, that will help my team out tremendously, because I always put that, near the B flag, and it helps us hold down the flag for the rest of the game. And, of course, then I'm now going to try for my RAPS, which would pretty much seal the deal. But I fail right here because I'm so used to, knifing people and not going to kill people in one hit. In this game, knives don't work. You just butt people with your gun and you don't kill them. So I failed there, and I probably would have died anyway. Of course, when you're on the enemy side of the map, you have a good chance of dying. But anyway, no big deal. We're winning the game, and that's really what the only thing that really matters is winning the game. So go ahead and put my Cerberus on B, and now I'm going to go ahead and pursue my deep flank again, and say the same strategy. Trying to pick off as many people as I can. And of course, I run into some, enemies at the A flag, and, I see that happening. I'm one shot, so I ran away, and then, came back around and picked up the, the defend. So now I'm looking pretty good to build up my score streaks once again, heading over to the enemy flank and, making sure that I can cut the enemy off and, keep them from, taking the B flag, while my boy Darkside, takes care of business at the B flag. And of course, this is Ground War, so there's 9. It's a 9v9. So basically, there's quite a few teammates that are playing the objective, and then on the other team, there's tons of people playing the objective as well. So it's always exciting. You always have to be cautious of what's going on. But up here once again, I went ahead and pulled out my combat focus, which basically boosts up my score streaks, makes them easier to get. So it's a really tactical choice to put that right there. And then I notice I'm really close to my RAPS, and I'm just like I just really want them, because I know if I can get that will pretty much seal the deal for the game. And I'm just trying to be careful, but of course I don't agree with how I'm playing right now. I should have been a little bit more conservative, but I was able to pick it up. And this set up the CUDA, the suppressor, and I'm also using Ghost and also Blast suppressor. So they currently have a UAV up, so I'm completely like invisible to them. They're not looking out for me. They're looking at all the other red dots, at the B flag and things like that. They're not looking at the red dot where I'm at right now, because there is no red dot. So I have the element of surprise, and I'm able to pick up a few kills. And of course, I shouldn't have went back there, because I knew they probably would have known I was up there, since I've been picking them off for like the last minute or so. So that's the reason why I died there. And sometimes when you're in a heated area, you really need to just change up your strategy. Maybe go to the other side of the map. Stay back from a little bit, because you will die. And there's multiple ways to do well in a game. Even if staying in one area is doing good, you can always do good in another area as well. So just being aware of what's going on. And pretty much at this point, I'm just looking for the enemies, and my RAPS are doing a lot of damage to them, so that's why the spawns change so quickly. And at this point, I know the game is pretty much over. I mean, we have it in the bag. There's not much they can do, and so really, I'm just trying to get as many kills as I can, just having a little bit of fun with them. And it turned out to be a really good game, of course. And I'm just trying to figure out where they're spawning. So should I go to that A flag or not? And of course, this is the most ridiculous death ever. I mean, this reminds me of the good old COD 4 days of Martyrdom. I mean, it's not Martyrdom, but I ran into his grenade that he just died. I mean, the chances of that happening are not very high anymore, and it's just that really made me upset. But anyway, I spawned here on the C flag, and I noticed that we kind of have to capture a flag because they just captured B. And of course, I'm not going to try to force my life to try to capture the C flag, so I kind of pull back and wait to kill that guy. And then here I am, took care of them, and then I'm just going to hold down the C flag to win the game. The enemies do have all 3 flags, but Darkside and the rest of my team are trying to go capture the B flag. And here I am just taking the C flag by myself, and took care of an attacker. And at the end of the day, I mean, domination is about it's not exactly always about capturing flags. You can also be objective when just pulling off a few kills and things like that, just flanking the enemy and cutting them off to so they don't go to this certain flag or something like that. But anyway, a 39-3 gameplay. We joined in the middle of the game, so I think that's really impressive, because you're always at a disadvantage when you join a game. And just taking that time at the beginning of the game to observe what's going on, you gave me enough of information on how to play well during this game. And overall, it was a lot of fun. And huge shout out to Darkside, because he's my buddy on PSN, and we rape noobs together. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please drop a like. It helps me out tremendously. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing for more awesome videos just like this. And guys, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon.